Welcome to episode 2 of the Surprise Lethal podcast, where a bunch of British players talk about weeaboo card games. I'm Brandon, and I'll let the others introduce themselves.
I am Euan. I'm one of the younger players in the UK scene, and I was on Brandon's team when we won Trios in Cardiff last June, something like that. I play a lot of Sal, and not much else.
Nice. I'm Nick. I played a lot of Sunshine, now it's dead in a ditch. And Brandon stabbed me in the back and just walked off with other people to play Trios. So there you go.
But not this year.
Well, yeah, not this year.
I'm Lee. I've been playing this game for 7 years. I've played way too many different decks in tournaments. My best results are coming third WGP 2016 and winning Huddersfield UK 2017.
Sweet. So I guess to start off, we should talk about any recent card previews and the like. Starting with the recent Fate leaks, which are pretty exciting to me, at least.
They're very exciting to me.
Just because you bought up some cards.
Having invested in Sakura Akatsuki's, I'm in a great position to pick up this set now. I had Yarbaka message me, I think, earlier this morning, of just a screenshot of how much the price had risen, and said, "Good job buying them from me when they were half the price."
How much are they now?
2480 yen, something like that.
Oh wow, I own expensive cards. That's nice.
Sorry, go on.
I don't think it the cards are that exciting. It's just cool. There's a rider and a rainstorm.
I think the fact that the brainstorm has the gold bar switch effect on it makes it likely we're going to see another level 1 combo on a gold bar, and that's likely to be a Sakura, which makes the Sakura Akatsuki really good.
It's worth talking about what the cards actually are, because it's not a guarantee that everyone will have seen them. So there's a Sakura Restless Salvage Brainstorm, which I'm pretty sure is unrestricted. And it has the whole, when you trigger a gold bar, you can ditch a card to clock fix effect. You see a lot. And there was also a Rider 3-2, which I think, I can't remember exactly, but it comboed with a gold bar.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was pay 2, drop 1, and they can't front attack across in this
Yeah,
deck
that sounds about right.
Yeah,
I can't really think
like
of the timings, to be honest.
Even if the set doesn't get anything else, it's still for those who still own their Rider waifu decks. That's an instant 4 of in that deck anyway.
Pretty much. But yeah, having seen the other effect in the brainstorm, I'm kind of hoping that the other prints another combo on level 1 that's also on a gold bar.
Mm-hmm.
And that'll be when we find out if you actually got good value on your Akatsukis, I guess.
Okay, the Rider... Okay, so yeah, the Rider's on attack pay 2, drop 1. It gains character across from this front attack, and character across from this gets minus 3000 power. So, can't wait to see people move back or up by accident and kill it.
Pretty sweet.
I don't think there's any existing treasure combos or gold bar combos in Fate already at the moment, are there?
Certainly not worth using.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all we have for Fate so far. Sneaker Bunker is going to be coming out on Friday, I believe.
It's next Friday.
Next Friday.
Next Friday. Ooh.
So we know all the cards now because there was a big leak with all the foils and everything. I don't think anything was too exciting to me personally, but I don't know about you guys.
Elf Tiddies.
Oh, yeah, no, I was definitely aroused at it all.
Impressive.
I actually really like the card of the day we got today. I was speaking to some people about it earlier. The Aqua level 0. So it's on place, choose one of your opponent's characters, send it to memory, and then your opponent chooses a slot to place it back on the stage. And also on play, choose one of your opponent's characters, choose one of its traits, and it loses that trait until end of turn. I think it's a really interesting answer to decks that have cards that gain markers, things like Keen Logic or Franks. or any persisting effects like Aaron or Astolfo, I guess, if people are even running that card. But then there's like an element of risk reward, right? So say you take down a Strelitzia and it loses all its markers, they can just put it in the back row and keep that 2-soul body around untouched. So it's like an interesting back and forth, which is nice because there's some nice interaction between players, which we don't get that much of these days.
I didn't realize that you actually could just choose any slot to put it in, because I thought it had to be in the same slot.
I think it's the opponent chooses the slot.
Yeah, opponent chooses it.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
So you
record had
remove all
the
their
effect.
markers.
What is it?
Yeah, there's a card in my Geo record that has you can bounce opponent's character. But
That's cool.
it's an interesting tech option. It depends on what your local metagame's running in tournaments, really, to whether it's actually useful to put in a deck or not. But
Yeah.
it's a nice to have, like lying around.
I think one of Kanosa's key problems is not having answers to decks like Franks and Heen Logic, which is why Japanese players like aggressively splash yellow for stock bombs, and I think that just like alleviates the need for that splash, which is nice.
I mean, there's also the wasn't there a anti-change bomb revealed anyway for Konosuba in this set somewhere?
I don't remember.
Yeah, that actually rings a bell.
Is it?
But I think it might just be a reverser.
I think it is just a reverser.
Yeah, it was the reverser that had like on its reverse reveal up if it's a level 2 or higher, add it to hand. Right?
That was the one.
Something like that.
I can't
Which
remember. It was like I thought like minus some power on a front row character or something. But
yes, I think it was minus 1k, wasn't it? The same as the Apocrypha one.
Yeah, we just seeing if the
I can't find the card, so
Yeah.
the Kazuma level 0 stop bomb is like super overpriced in my opinion, and it'll be interesting to see if like not having to splash yellow anymore just to anti-change bomb will change that price. But I guess the only other thing to talk about is something that was revealed today. There was this signature campaign for Seeker Bunko, which anyone outside Japan is going to have like no chance of winning pretty much.
Pretty much. Like, are people outside of Japan even allowed to enter?
I don't think there's any restriction for that, but because you can only send every letter that you send can only count as one entry, so you can't like send 200 of the coupons or something, and then you get 20 entries. Yeah, so to do it, you'd have to send like a lot of letters, and you're sending it to Japan, and it's a bit of a nightmare.
I think it's a cool idea, at least for Japan.
Yeah, at least for Japan. Yeah, the way it works is apparently in every single pack there's going to be a coupon, and you can send off 10 of these coupons to be entered into a draw. If you win the draw, you get a promo that is signed by the illustrator/author of whatever card your promo pertains to, and they sign it directly to you as well, which is pretty cool.
So it's coming out next Friday, right? Like a week on Friday.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I might just low-key pick some up while me and Luke are over there in Japan.
Oh yeah, you're gonna be in Japan.
Yeah, it's buy 10 packs, send it off, and then just like see what happens, and then just like throw the cards in the bin because I don't play any of the sets.
Yeah, you can state your return address as a Tensou address, so there really isn't any restriction for entering it if you're outside of Japan.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much everything for recent card previews and things like that.
I would just like to say I think the yellow level 3 is going to be interesting in Bunko, to try and make a splash in Konosuba and just try it in Bunko itself.
Is that the Multi one?
It's on play, send the top 2 cards of your deck to the waiting room, deal X's amount of trigger icons, climax combo, pay 2 on attack, deal 2 damage, and get 3,000 power.
You can only run that in Sneeko, right?
No, it's actually a Konosuba character.
I think it has like some conflicting traits, but
it's incredibly off trait, so you'd have to run all the cards that target either yellow or specific or like cards, but she is a Konosuba character.
Right, I thought like the card code was
Maybe-
often it needed to be a KS card code. So
Maybe it does.
I mean,
No idea how this-
all
I
the,
don't know how it's going to work.
yeah, all the SKS cards will be working Konosuba, and that is an SKS card, I'm pretty sure.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Moving on to recent UK tournaments. I think there's only really one of note the past couple of weeks. There are a bunch of other smaller league tournaments around the country, but yesterday in Milton Keynes had 17 players. So a lot of notable players were there as well.
just
Players
scrapes
at the top of the
the
ladder, yeah,
just scrapes the 5 rounds top 8.
Yeah.
pretty much. Very, very barely scraped it. So in the end, our friend Peter won with Sword Art Online.
Peter's my boy. I've been coaching him since day one. So it's very nice to see him finally get results after buying the emojis that I've been bullying him to get.
It's pretty funny, him saying to me after winning tournament, "Can't wait to hear you guys talk about me on the podcast." So, hi Peter. It's this XO curse thing that's been happening a lot in the UK this year, and that happened to you this time, Lee.
Yeah, it did. Like, I had a number of close games, but managed to squeeze through, and then every time get the 5-0, hit quarterfinal, and then my opponent just cancels everything all game. And literally nothing I could do. He had like the perfect answer for everything across the entire game, and then I just died.
I wanted to hear more about how your game against Peter played out, because he was running like 3 early plays, so he was like tacked towards that matchup.
I pretty much played Kurika character Encorder every turn, and then killed a level 3 a turn.
Yeah, like I know he said he like played the early play Shinon, and then it got memory kicked on the backswing.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Oh, you mean against Peter? Sorry.
Yeah.
Against Peter, it was like I got a 1-1 into play and a 2-2 into play before he hit level 1, and then I had field for the entire game. He couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
Because I think that was also a game where I hit level 2, standby Charabe onto the back row, and then he was the only reason he managed to keep pace was because he had some pretty well timed cancels, and his brainstorms were hitting as well, so he was keeping hand size literally through hitting brainstorms every turn.
Yeah, which is kind of the position that Sal gets forced into in like board-based matchups like that.
Because he wasn't compressed either. He had like no stock going into level 3.
Yeah, because he'd been forced to play early plays to try and deal with your boards.
Yeah, it's interesting that he actually decided to run like 2 or 3 early plays just to beat Summer Pockets. And then probably the first time this year, the UK, there was a tournament without a single Summer Pockets in the room.
He only played the Sinon. He didn't get the others into play.
The others are 2 or less, so they're like.
Was Matt Mead not there?
He was there running new Bang Dream stuff.
He was playing Afterglow.
Oh, okay.
That actually finished 3rd place using Afterglow, so that's pretty
Oh, okay.
I had an interesting blowout turn against Matt's Afterglow deck. So it comes to my end of turn. I've got 8 cards in hand, and I've salvaged an anti-change backup that turn. And I discarded it end of the turn, and I had the second one in hand as well. So Matt Mead sees me discard that counter, thinks, oh, cool, I'm free to early play now. Double early plays, attacks into my 2-2 in the middle. So I play the second counter, which even after sacking meant it was bigger than the 1-3-2. Sent the other 3-2 to the waiting room because he only had 2 stock. He couldn't do anything about it, and yeah, that happened.
I definitely heard him more than once be quite upset about the fact that you're running 2 anti-change cards.
Yeah.
How did your game bigger, Euan? Is there something else you wanted to add to that?
Yeah, like my day all around was kind of shaky. Like I was winning games, but everything was like unclean. I didn't actually hit a Shinon combo all day, which is not a great position to be in. I didn't. Well, earlier in my game against Mammy's, I saw him. I saw a rest counter fly around, and I was like, okay, I've got to remember to play around that. And then as I hit 3 when he was still low level 2, I saw him like trigger one and bury it. And I saw another one in waiting room, so I assumed I was safe to like swing in whatever attack order, and then he played the third one down, which like, while it didn't strictly lose me the game, it definitely took away any chance of me making my way back into the game. Which
Interesting that he was running 3 of that.
Yeah, I think he was. Either he was running 3 and I saw 2, or he was running 2 and I saw 1. Either way.
I wonder how many games were actually won on the rest counter.
Yeah, that entire game really frustrated me because I was like, I didn't hit my Sugaha like board engine, so I was losing board. Like we were just trading board back and forth, which isn't a position Sammy wants to be in because I have to pay resources to generate cards so another decks get it for free. And while Matt wasn't in a great position either, he was just brainstorming and hitting 2 every turn. So even though he ended turns on like 1 card in hand, he'd just generate them all back again afterwards anyway. So that was it wasn't like a fun game to be on my end of.
Sounds like just wise things, really.
Yeah, basically.
Like some games you just sit there and go, well, I figured it all out. I just need to play in this way, and they'll just run out of resources, and they're just like, nah, man. Brainstorm, hit 3, mill through the rest of my deck. Problem solved.
I mean, that ties into what a discussion we were having in Discord earlier about transferable skills from other card games. If you're used to playing a game like Magic, you can very much believe that you'll just wear your opponent out of resources and win the game that way. But in a game with combat mechanics like Brainstorm's hitting 3, that's not as achievable.
As a Magic player, I could say you quickly forget about running your opponent out of resources.
Yeah, I've learned that in a particularly hard way, I guess.
I did actually win a game in Swiss that way against a Konosuba player. I just like denying 2 of his unions one turn, using a Sugaha to tie with a Aqua early play the next turn.
I mean,
and then when he hit level 3, he had like 2 cards in hand.
I mean, running your opponent out of cards definitely helps, but it by no means wins you the game.
It's not a game plan, for sure. It's just something like it's something to be like. I think quite a lot because it's
more of a side effect of the decks you're playing, really. Like, I mean, take Symphogear, for example, because I'm trying to win board all game. If my opponents aren't hitting Brainstorms, they're just naturally going to run low on hand.
Yeah, but a lot of the decks that people run, especially locally, are built towards keeping a high hand size for the entire game. So it is quite rare to see someone get below like 4 cards in hand. So it's something to be like aware of, I think.
Definitely more often recently, I've been in a position to fear a counter. About 6 months ago, I'll just front and force out the counter. But now I'll just look at the 7 cards in their hand and go, this isn't really going to affect them at all.
I still think it's worth forcing it, the counter. Just so it's not there to worry about later on, in case you really need a reverse.
This is also from me using Milky a lot lately, where, if I'm using Milky a lot lately, I'm going to want my 5/5 or whatever to live on the swing back so I can turn it into a 10k plus.
Yeah, we had an interesting game 1 where both of our boards get big on opponent's turn, so we were just sliding into each other.
Yeah, Ellie's versus Sugahas.
Yeah.
It was pretty funny.
If I'd hit a Brainstorm, it would have been over for you.
That's a pretty big claim.
Yeah, isn't it?
Having an act available during my turn works wonders.
Okay, so there's one thing I wanted to ask about. What did you guys think of Emily's 765 deck? It was running Hibiki Stock Soul into Haraka combo, and it didn't seem to do much else, I don't think.
I only like glanced at it because I know that no one will build Idolmaster as well as me and Brandon will build it.
Let's ignore that and go back
Let's
to my
ignore that.
actual
I
question.
mean now.
But all I saw was the Azisa restand, and I had a big yikes on my face and left.
Wait, I'm pretty sure like that comment you made, you was probably aimed towards million live OG MS. But...
Oh yeah, but I don't think running the mix is correct. So
all credit to Emily because she did go make top cut and get second place.
Yeah.
mhm.
But if I was building the deck, I think I'd retain the old blind stock soul combo, and maybe use standby at top end rather than maintaining the gate and using a new level 1 combo, because I think level 1 was previously the strongest part about Idolmaster.
Yeah, and it's definitely the weakest part of New Idolmaster.
It's
Every
interesting you
combo
say that,
has-
Brandon, because like that's what I'm messing around with at the moment. I want Stock
Nice.
Soul with standby.
Yeah.
But the
that
standby
what-
top end isn't even good.
I
Wow.
was gonna say, isn't that what Richard Mead's doing as well?
He's doing something similar. Yeah, he's trying to
Yeah.
make standby
Yeah.
work.
Yeah, it's the mark of players who've like played with Idolmaster for a long time versus those who haven't. I think is like how much stock they put in. I want.
I think it's like the longer you spend playing 765, the more you hate Haraka.
So if you're using stock soul standby, what kind of fat tutus are you using? Assuming you are.
Well, I don't actually own the 2-2 I want to use right now because when I bought my cards, it was sold out. But it's a terrible 2-2-9-5 Chihaya with character encore.
Nice.
That's like the older one, right?
It's from Idolmaster 2.
Yeah.
If you play it from hand, it gets a marker and eats a stock every turn.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
This is the one I would play as well.
Yeah, I remember when this set came out. Like we were comparing, we were like, okay, there's the 2-2 in the new set. Let's look through the old sets and see if there's a 2-2 worth running. And then we it's just this 2-2 that you have to stand by in or it's not good.
The other level 2 that I've seen people playing is the old 2-1 Makoto. It's if you've got 3 others, it's an 8k, and at the beginning of opponents' attacks, you can pay 1 to stand and swap it with anything else.
I really like that card too.
It's similar to the well, it's almost exactly the same as the Mikasa early play, which used to win Attack on Titan games back in my day.
Back in my day, that 2-1 Makoto used to be played all the time, but then as people stopped playing level 2s, it lost a lot of its value. But being able to stand by in at level 1, I think it gained some of its value back.
Especially if it comes to a point where you've managed to get more early plays, and the only way people really have in their decks of answering it are to change bombs, and you just like completely remove that option for them.
Yeah, pretty much.
8k isn't that big by today's standards, though, is the only issue.
It's not, but it's serviceable.
It also forces them to play that many numbers in every single lane.
Yeah, because you
I
like
guess,
stand by
yeah.
in the back and then just swap it in.
Yeah, I'm just
Or
thinking
you just
about
swap it.
I'm just thinking about matchups like Summer Pockets, where like sure it's a pay 1+1, but that's generally not that good anyway.
I guess we actually haven't really had a good chance to talk about Idolmaster since it's come out.
Not many people who like I expected to play it have played it, and a lot of people have like theories on what they think is good, but not many people are actually testing it.
Besides standby, I don't think the OG deck actually changes too much anyways.
Unless you decide to run stocks all pants, which people are doing.
Yeah, I've seen some lists use that.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. Pray for
About-
new finish, get new Chihaya, feel a little sad.
Have you got any plans to play Million Live at all?
I don't actually.
Fair enough.
I looked at it and I was like, I'll stick with my old girls and buy other sets this year.
Yeah, when it was announced, I was like almost expecting you to buy a bunch of boxes for it rather than
Yeah.
singlets. Considering you're still aiming for like maxing IMAS as well, right?
Once I've got a build with the IAS stuff I'm happy with, I'll probably end up re-maxing it back out again.
Re-maxing it.
Yeah. Because fortunately, I've already got my 4 Asuses and SR Mickeys, so I'm quite happy about that.
I guess I could talk a little bit about my day yesterday. I finally worked up the courage to use Milky after having it for a couple months now, and I think it went pretty well. Besides 2 games, really. Those being my 3rd Swiss round and my top 8 game, where just things were out of my control. But I realized against you, there was actually a win con that I didn't even see, because the Nero 3-2 can bounce back row.
Oh, it can bounce back row.
Yeah.
That is.
So yeah, that could have opened up a lot more damage for me.
Yeah, that would have been a big swing. That might have actually won you the game.
So yeah, I'll take the L on that. But yeah, I pretty much just used the expected gold bar gate build with new promos. I don't think there's much else to talk about the deck, but it went pretty well. I'm enjoying it.
Nice.
I'm trying to think if there's anyone else worth talking about from the tournament now.
It was overall quite just like a mediocre event. I think like the exciting stories were things like Luke triggering 3 wins in a turn and yelling it across the room.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, Luke went nuts. I haven't seen him get that angry. I don't think ever.
He's been in a weird spot where he's coming back into the game after taking a break and moving away from the local scene, and is definitely not seeing results that he's used to seeing, and playing decks that he hasn't had much practice with. Like, he was playing Persona 5 when he borrowed Nick's rewrite.
Yeah, he
And
did.
bought it all the way from Leeds.
Wasted £15 going into town just to get him that before he went down. Well, I say wasted. Most of that was food, but
Yeah, I was kind of expecting to talk about this later, but I guess now is actually a pretty good time to talk about it.
I think it kind of felt like he was expecting to easy top 8 with this P5 deck I've never played in a tournament before, and I think that was why he got so angry.
I mean, he's still got like the bravado hangover from like topping nearly every event with Kisniver in 2017.
He stayed at my house the night before with Vane, and he definitely had that aura of just like, yeah, I'm expecting to do well. And really, this year's like been quite surprising when compared to the past couple of years.
I think the spread of at the top is wider than it was last year, at least from the first so many events we've had from the first 3 episodes.
Yeah.
I don't think his bravado has helped, by the way, because we played a couple of games when I went into town on like the Wednesday, and so he was playing with rewrite, and I'd pretty much all I'd brought in was Sunshine, but like sleeved up my Might Tonight, so the 5 attack combo, and like both games went absolute trash on my end, so he didn't even really need to try and win, even though the matchup itself is already fairly one-sided. Because rewrite compresses. Sunshine doesn't really do much to stop it compressing, because it can't even contest at 1, and then you hit level 3 and my game plan is swing 5 times. And it's like, okay, cancel. So yeah, that probably didn't help his ego, I guess, going into it. It's probably a good word.
Yeah. And he's the king of experience over theory, so having a lack of practice going into an event is a bit of a misplay.
I mean,
Fair to say.
Although I do think some of his games did just go terrible as well, to be
Yeah.
fair to him.
Oh yeah, of course. But when you're unconfident with a deck to begin with, it's a lot easier to get tilted and make bad situations worse.
I'll agree with that.
If you actually talk about how this 3-win game was going, it was against me pretty much. He went super aggro, lost some cards from it, and then he was getting enough damage, but it didn't really matter in the end because there was just one turn where he triggered 3 wins, which opened up the chance for me to kill him from 2-1.
2-1. That's such a
2-1.
ridiculous point in the game
Yeah.
to start from.
It was pushing damage so much that I was like, I was at level 3 at this point, obviously. But because he had like 1 left in deck, so I just went, okay, restand Cheryl combo, and then I think some 0-0 was swinging or something like that, and just stand the climax, and that was enough.
Wasn't his last climax the bottom card of his deck or something ridiculous?
It was in
bottom 2. Bottom 2 or 3, yeah.
Yeah. And he needed it to be like any card higher. But hey, you had a lot of games like that, Brandon, so I guess it's okay.
On both sides. Yeah, it's pretty unique. Yeah, I don't think there's really anything else worth talking about from today, unless you guys have anything else.
I guess I can talk about. So I was talking to Ben as we were heading back to the station, and like this is to like contrast the point of like being inexperienced with the deck and easy to tilt. Like I've played so much Sal that I can recognize when a day's just like a bad day to be playing the deck, like missing combos, books going out of place, stuff like that. I find it very hard to tilt with Sal now. I enter like a zen state, which is I think it's really positive, and I think like I would like it as I've been playing this deck for like getting on a year, probably about a year. I think it like the I can like track the distance that I've come from like when I started playing to now, even in the last like 3 or 4 months or so. So I think I know Hearthstone players a lot when people ask, which like how should I be grinding ladder to get as high as I can. Pro players always say just pick one deck and play it over and over so you can learn it inside out and learn what you can change and what you can't change. And I think the same thing's true of Weiss. I think a lot of people will have like a big collection of like 5 or 6 decks and pick one depending on their mood. But I think it is positive to just grind the same deck over and over and learn its insights.
Or, a dozen or 2 decks.
Yeah, whatever.
I mean, you could be Dario and have like every deck under the sun.
Yeah. Hasn't Dario got something like half of the sets ever printed? Or
Something
more?
silly like that.
I wouldn't be surprised.
That's a lot. I mean, I own
Yeah.
a lot of cards, but I don't think I own that many cards.
I sold him my old Nanoher deck, and I've never seen it since.
Yeah, same can be said of my Angel Beats.
Yeah, I think you're right though. It's like, but it doesn't necessarily apply to just playing one deck over and over again. I think you need to approach a tournament, whether you're playing a deck you're experienced with or not, with that frame of mind where you just have to stay calm and not tilt, and have that zen, like you say. I mean, that's something that I lost towards the end of last season, and it affected the way I was playing. And it's something I've actively been trying to improve on at the start of this year, and it's definitely been helping me a lot in games where I've just had terrible hands, terrible starts. It just helps a lot.
After every loss, I try to immediately vocalize what I think I did wrong.
Yeah, I agree. It's like for every loss, if you can find even just one thing that you could have changed in that game, then
Yeah. Well, every game is a potential for new learning experiences. Especially at this stage of the season where there's a lot less on the line.
Yeah, that's true.
Episode to episode.
And then I think the Zen staying calm becomes even more important as we get towards the back half of the season when you really need to get those last few points in.
Yeah, but hopefully you can carry those skills over to the qualifying event.
Yeah.
In an ideal world. I know I didn't do a great job of that in Rome, but at the same time there were other factors of I've spoken about this before, I think. I don't remember where or when, but my entire focus last season was on proving that I could make it to Rome. So once I got there, I had no motivation to actually do well in the event. But so when I lost a game, I was just yeah, okay, that sucks, whatever. When I won a game, I was yeah, okay, whatever. There's nothing on the line because that was the end goal. So
it's good to set realistic.
It is good to set realistic goals, but it's also good to try and keep that motivation going.
I think it's too ridiculous for anyone in Europe to go into a season with the intentions of winning Rome.
I mean, my intentions going into every season is to win WGP in Japan, but that's been my goal for the last 4 years now, I think.
How's it been working out for you?
I got to English Worlds.
Yeah, I think it's a good point to move on now to Springfest talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, so about a day after the last podcast, where I got everyone to predict what the winner promo will be, the winner promo was revealed. And it's for Batman Ninja, so I think Luke guessed that correctly.
Nice.
Yeah, I believe that's correct.
Yeah, so this is actually the first and only Batman Ninja card we've had revealed so far. It looks pretty good.
It's just watermelon Rem,
yeah,
right?
I was just about to say that. I mean, the fact it's just watermelon Rem, but with an easier condition to fulfill, it's just a good card.
I can't wait for it to be printed on some garbage trigger book.
That would make it less desirable, but I think even on a book, it's still a good card.
Yeah, I'm glad they're keeping up the trend of giving winners good promos so that they can actually sell them. It's the closest to price support that we've gotten, and it is really it does help. Because Trios is kind of inherently quite uncompetitive. It's a bit more of a friendlier environment. But having something significant to win on the line is good. It's good motivation for people to travel and find teams and practice, which is nice.
One pattern that I picked up on these champion promos, since they were a thing, is the Springfest ones are typically cards you need 4 of, and the BCS ones are cards you can get away with not running 4 of. So the fact that there's going to be more out there with the Springfest promos, it'll be easy to get a playset.
Yeah.
Okay. What cards have they done previous then? Just to run back through them.
So Springfest last year was the Yukina Climax.
Yeah.
So obviously you can run 4 of a Climax. And then Autumn it was the Emilia pseudo restand thing, the thing that calls out Puck.
Yeah.
And I think it's pretty fair to say that you'd run
It's a 2 of tops.
Yeah, two of it, maybe 3, probably no more than 2.
Okay, maybe with set 1 you run 3, but I think that's fringe.
That comes into question. Do you think they'll reprint the restand promo in English?
The Amelia restand promo?
Because
they have it already, haven't they?
Have they?
I thought they had. They'll probably print it with set 2 when that comes out.
Because at that point, then you just don't need the set 1 Amelia.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. Unless you you like the idea of not being affected by money with your restands and stuff like that. Who knows?
Yeah, yeah, like it's only needed in set 1 because your main finish is the shuffleback thing, so pseudo restand is like super valuable. But I think with set 2, you just like every finishing option in that set is better anyway.
Yeah, a lot of players worldwide often opt to use yellow as a secondary color as well, so that might be their only way of pushing damage, with the exception of Felt.
Yeah, so yeah, like it's a good partner for Felt being linkless, which is nice.
Yeah, there's only actually been one Springfest tournament for Weiss since 2 weeks ago, and that was one in Chicago, which was won with a team of AOT, Love Live Sunshine, and Kansai.
Kansai being quite an interesting pick, actually.
I don't think there's any real surprises there.
Like I think the decks themselves aren't that surprising. I just think Kankol's interesting because it's more of like anti-meta pick, and when, like, you know, if you're picking Kankol, you want to face against AOT as much as possible, right? And when you're in trios, you've only ever got a 1 in 3 chance of playing against AOT. So
I don't think Kansai is like particularly favored against AOT, but it has ways of dealing with it.
Yeah, well, like, you know, like if you're putting it on your trios team, that's the expectation, is that it gets paired against AOT and beats it, right?
Yeah, so but I think I'd rather have Sword Art Online for that case.
I don't know. I think Sao AOT is actually super even.
Yeah. I don't actually think there's really much consideration with AOT being popular for why they chose to use Kansai.
Yeah, I mean, like but yeah, we've got like a list of like their records in between rounds, and they didn't actually play against AOT at all. Yeah. So,
I mean, also, if I'm not mistaken, the guy that was using Kansai is actually just a pretty big Kansai fan.
Yeah.
I mean, if there's a time to just play a deck for the hell of it, trios is the time, right?
Yeah, pretty much. And, you know, it's in a pretty good state in English, so...
Yeah, like, Cheers, like, especially last year, it was, like, a 2-deck format featuring filler. If you look at our team, which was Attack on Titan, Sword Art, and OG Love Live.
I was the filler.
OG Love Live.
Cheers is definitely a time to try out something you might think is good in the metagame, get struck down, and learn your lesson before the autumn circuit comes around.
But not without letting down your teammates.
Of course.
John.
That's a sly name drop there.
Yeah.
I think with the actual builds themselves, they're pretty expected. At the very least, Nick and I will be pretty disappointed in the Sunshine build using the Chica level 1 combo, but that's a whole other debate.
Yeah.
It's like a few weeks old now.
Well, I mean, it's not really a few weeks old. That's...
I mean, if we're talking about the specific discussion that happened all over social media.
Oh, that one. Yeah, no, that wasn't too new. Or too old. But, like, my disdain for the Chica combo is pretty old.
Yeah, mine too.
Yeah, mine too.
One of the interesting stories is apparently there was a Prisma Ilya deck that went 5-0.
I mean, Kaleidoscope's just hella high roll, isn't it, really?
Pretty much.
It's like, if you've woke up at the start of the day, found a 5er on the floor, you're like, Kaleidoscope, let's go.
Yeah. This is the same guy that used AOT and teched in a random 1 or 2 soul at Worlds. The year you went to Worlds.
Oh yeah, I got blown out by that too, so.
Good guy, Michael. Project.
To be honest, now you say that it's the same guy that did that, I'm not surprised in the slightest. Like, high roll extraordinaire. All right.
I think the team was like 3 different max rare fate decks or something.
Oh my god.
which is pretty great.
Oh god.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that was the only Spring Quest that's happened. I hope I'm not wrong about that.
Well, it's the one we chose to talk about.
It's the one we chose to talk about regardless. Yeah, if there was another one, I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, I guess the like the main takeaway, like actually having like a written list of trios matchups is super useful for like preparing for your own trios event, because it shows how much variety there is in trios and how like you should definitely practice for variety rather than trying to learn a specific matchup. If you are lacking in a certain matchup, like say you're an AOT player and you absolutely suck at the mirror and you can't get the hang of it, just rely on your teammates to pick up the slack and focus on winning every other game instead.
I think the same goes for like Weiss in general, but I think trios is probably is definitely one of those events where people are going to play a lot of different stuff.
I mean, the thing is though, it's like playing in the UK. People play whatever the hell they want anyway, so we're kind of used to variety.
Yeah.
So just playing Weiss in the UK in general kind of prepares you for variety anyway, because you never really know what you're going to play against.
I mean,
there's always wildcard picks, but there's like a ton of players have like bought Sword Art when it came out and still play it now, even if it's like a weaker variant of the list. It's still like the core mechanics are still there. So, and I think the same is true of AOT. We had like a UK store that was selling boxes of set 1 AOT for like £6.
Yeah.
So a lot of players in the UK have at least set 1 AOT, and most of them have considered buying into set 2 AOTs.
I personally wouldn't even own AOT if those set 1 boxes.
I think that's true for a lot of people.
Yeah, but
it was very upsetting for me as someone who'd been playing AOT for like the better part of a year when that happened, and wanted to be a special snowflake with my own special set, and suddenly everyone owned it and was going to buy into my new set.
I mean,
and then you sold out.
And then I sold out, but it was worth it. I think my records will show.
Oh dear.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything else to talk about for Springfest. So, if there's anything interesting that's gone on in your guys' lives that you want to talk about,
Not really.
I was originally going to reserve this bit for the whole story about Luke borrowing money,
right?
You having to pay money to travel to him to give it to him, and then him just choosing not to use it. But
it's fine. I got some good food out in town, so
it's pretty good.
It's pretty typical Luke fare, really.
I mean, I've done worse. I've gone into town to meet with him once, and he goes, "Oh, sorry, I've got an emergency meeting that I didn't know I had," and it lasts like an hour or 2 hours or something. And this is like 5 minutes before it, after I've already got into town. So I was like, "Oh, okay, I guess I'm going home." But I went into town, spent like 17 quid on snacks, and then went home with this bag full of like drinks and chocolate and stuff. Not the best idea, but you know.
Pretty good idea to me.
Well, they did taste very nice. It was just like, just walk into town, spend like 20 quid on snacks instead of going to the corner shop round the back of my house, you know. Not the best.
Well, I think that's a good closing point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Pretty
thanks
much.
for joining me, guys.
Cheers.
No worries.
And I'll have episode 3 up in a couple of weeks.